Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Friday, June 20th. I'm Carol Cater with the details. The first set of payments were made today by farmers who received credit under the government's $6 million farmer support program. The credit facility is being managed by the Farmer Support Company, launched in February of this year, as part of measures to improve the agriculture industry. The initiative provides loans to farmers at 2% interest, along with fertilizer and tools on credit. Among the payments made today was $15,000 by the Arrowroot Association. At a media conference today, Minister of Agriculture Saboto Caesar said to date the ministry has received 1,392 applications for loans from the credit facility, of which 900 have already been assessed, with 550 being given approval and have started to draw down funds from the facility. On March 21st this year, a recoveries account was established for the collection of monies already allotted as loans. The minister added that this was a crucial part of the process, explaining that repayment was essential.
Farmer can make a payment. I want you, no matter how small it is going to contribute to the possibility and the practicality of having the revolving fund function efficiently and in an efficacious manner. Don't want farmers to say, well, I'm waiting until I get $1,000 or waiting until I get $5,000. If you sell a sack of dashin, if you sell a box of yam or a few boxes of bananas and you can make a payment, we want you to make that payment, because what it does, I've been advised by the company, and it's the same thing in any lending institution, that you build up your credibility. The faster you start to pay back, no matter how small it is, it shows us that you have interest.
According to Caesar, he has the confidence in the farmers that they will make their repayments, explaining that the Farmer Support Company was set up to serve as a revolving door to provide continued assistance to farmers.
You come and you borrow and you pay back. It places money there for you to borrow again and for somebody else to borrow and start to pay back. We are very much aware of how the susu works, you know, and sometimes when one man gets his hand, you don't see him again, and the susu bus. Well, this is not a susu, but there are some principles from the susu which will apply.
Meanwhile, the Agriculture Minister is urging farmers who are yet to receive who are yet to have their applications processed to be patient. Farmers who submitted applications late, and that the system was set up to deal with applications on a first-come, first-served basis.
There are some applicants who would have applied for loans in excess of $20,000, and we have on staff Mr. Colville King, who is going to assist with the compilation and the drafting of business plans. We have also spoken to the CD, Center for Enterprise Development, which is supposed to also assist with the business plans. And if the person can get a business plan done privately, the person can also do so. So just for those persons who would have applied for $20,000 and over, and they think that it is taking an inordinately longer period than they anticipated, it's because we have to ensure that the requisite business plans are in, because we have to be accountable at the end of the day.
Livestock farmers, especially those in the production of sheep and goats, will soon have an artificial insemination service for their animals administered on their farms. This is according to Chief Veterinary Officer Dr. Kathy-Ann Hackshaw, who this week indicated that a cadre of veterinary officers have been trained and given the tools to test the implementation of a mobile artificial insemination program for small ruminants. Dr. Hackshaw stated that at the moment, Dr. Amelia Jack, who has responsibility for the livestock reproduction program, with assistance from Dr. Natalie Toney, are presently administering the service to 50 goats located on 5 farms in the state. This program, she indicated, is to be extended island-wide on a continuous basis in about a month's time after the initial trials are evaluated. The artificial insemination service is said to be a part of an activity coming out of the FAO-sponsored Farmers Field Schools Reproduction Module and is also supported by the Agricultural Recovery Program for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, also sponsored by the FAO. The communication unit in the Ministry of Agriculture said this is the first time that an artificial insemination program for small ruminants on this scale will be implemented in SVG. Earlier today, outstanding performers in the first ever Lionfish Derby activity were presented with their prizes from the Ministry of Fisheries and a number of corporate sponsors. According to Jeremy Searles of the Fisheries Division, the Lionfish Derby, which is a new addition to the annual Fisherman's Day activities, saw teams clearing almost 700 pounds of lionfish from local waters on June 9th.
In first place for the most lionfish would be Serenity Dive. And Serenity Dive would have brought in a total of 293 lionfish, which would be 170 pounds of lionfish. And in second place we have Trade Winds with 157 lionfish and a total of 119 pounds of lionfish. So Trade Winds. In third place we have Indigo Dive Slayers with 135 lionfish, totaling 89 pounds. So Indigo Dive Slayers.
A special prize went to Clarence Kirby, who single-handedly caught 77 lionfish.
53 pounds of lionfish by himself, holding his breath. That is what you need to remember. The Clarence Kirby.
Meanwhile, the award for the largest single lionfish was taken by Indigo Dive Slayers with a catch measuring 41 centimeters, and the smallest single lionfish was caught by Night Divers measuring 7 centimeters. The day's winners were also presented with gifts from sponsors the St. Vincent Brewery Limited, St. Vincent Distillers Limited, and Super J IGA Supermarkets. All sponsors were also recognized and presented with certificates. NEMO to host consultation to review the draft protocols and standard operating procedures for tsunami warnings for SVG. That and more local stories when the SVG-TV news continues. Welcome back. A national consultation to review the draft protocols and standard operating procedures for tsunami warnings for SVG will be held here next week. The consultation will be hosted by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, who is in the process of developing the National Protocols and Standard Operating Procedures, SOPs. The workshop will be held on Monday and Tuesday next week at NEMO's conference room. According to NEMO, the objectives of the consultation are to familiarize national stakeholders with the tsunami protocol, processes to advance the development of SVG's tsunami protocol and standard operating procedures, and to identify resources necessary to ensure appropriate preparedness measures for tsunamis. According to Director of NEMO, Howie Prince, the expected outcomes of this consultation are to have an increased awareness among national stakeholders of the tsunami protocol, the development process, that should be the tsunami protocol development process, to make recommendations for the enhancement of tsunami readiness in SVG, and to identify the resources necessary for an appropriate preparedness program for tsunami response. Time to switch focus now to Vincy Mass. It's time for Carnival Beat.
See your eyes, it will never beg you, just don't care. When them up to the sky, let them fly.
For the fourth consecutive year, the SVG Port Authority handed over its sponsorship of T-shirts to the Genesis Steel Orchestra. Speaking at the handing over ceremony, Human Resource Manager at the Port Authority, Charmaine Tappan-John, says they are pleased to have been lending support to the band for over the last 4 years, which was born out of the Pan Against Crime program.
Are indeed happy to be doing this. And we have seen the growth and development of the Port Authority Genesis Steel Orchestra over the 4 years. We note that this is the first year that they are having a senior band entering the competition, and that alone speaks to the development of the band. In the past, they only had a junior band, only entering Junior Panorama. This year, we're very happy to report that we will be entering both the junior and the senior categories.
Representative of the Pan Against Crime Program, Inspector Jonathan Nichols, thanked the SVG Port Authority for its sponsorship.
Thanks to the SVG Port Authority for continuing to be a faithful sponsor of one of our bands, the Genesis Steel Orchestra. As we know, the Pan Against Crime Program focuses on youth, and it is very important that not just the Pan Against Crime Program, the members of the committee, but St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a whole recognizes the fact that the youth we save today that's a savior for St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The Carnival Development Corporation, the CDC, has announced the 9 contestants who will be competing against Miss SVG 2014 Shadisha George in this year's Miss Carnival pageant, slated for July 4th at the Victoria Park. The contestants and their chaperones are slated to arrive here on June 30th and leave on July 5th. The contestants are, from top left, Miss Antigua Barbuda Renelle Carroll, Miss Barbados Janae Padmore, Miss Dominica Francine Baron, Miss Guyana Kiswana Jefford, Miss Jamaica Daniel Black, Miss Martinique Alexandra Chastel, Miss St. Kitts Nevis Kaive Armstrong, Miss St. Lucia Amy Stephen, Miss Venezuela Genesis Valera Seijas, Miss St. Vincent and the Grenadines Shadisha George.